Hallo miteinander, I'm Gashady6 and this is Blackthorne. Last time we took our baby steps in these snow levels, but the game is going to ramp it up this time. It's not going to be as easy as before, so we've got to watch out. While seeing these levels, you might have been wondering, are there ice physics in Blackthorne? And if you think a little bit about that, Blackthorne is a game that revolves very much around its very tight, almost grid-like controls, like most cinematic platformers. So the answer to that is no, there are no ice physics in Blackthorne, and I think that is a very good thing. We really don't need any of those. Now, the first problem in this level is we need a bridge key. Luckily, there is one relatively close to the start. That room that we were in before, it might have looked like we could have just pulled ourselves up on the right side of the bridge, but we can't. Somehow the game doesn't let us. Of course, the bridge key is in possession of this Androthy, who, just like Blackthorne, looks extremely buff in this version of the game. Yeah, about the graphics in the Sega 32X version of Blackthorne, people are a little bit mixed about it, I've noticed. Some like the realistic style, some don't like it all that much. The most interesting thing to me is, however, that the strongest graphical points of this game are not really the models or even these exclusive levels, but the backgrounds of the Carnelian swamps and the Sands of Sorrow. They look extremely gorgeous. They kind of remind me of an oil painting. So yeah, even if you've played other versions of Blackthorne, you should take a look at what they did to those areas. Since we're already touching on the subject of version differences, there are quite a few here. Unlike on the Super Nintendo, you can no longer pause the game to switch items. You always have to do it in real time on the Sega 32X. That can make it a little bit more difficult at places, but you can plan ahead to remedy that. Like if you know that a strong group of enemies is coming up, you can switch to a health potion beforehand. And you should. Now here's someone we've already kind of seen before. The ice beasts, I guess you could call them, are kind of like the rock beasts from the Sand of Sorrow. But I don't quite like how the game presents them in this version. Like in the Sands of Sorrow, they were camouflaging themselves as rocks, and here they're just kind of there. It's a little bit lame. Now coming up is a room where the path branches. We have two options. We could go down, we will take a little bit of a peek, but no, we don't want to go here. We want to go to the right instead, because if we go down, we will just run into a dead end a little bit later. See this war orc here? I think he is the most pitiful soldier in the Cadra army. I like to call him Clemens. For some reason they put him on a solitary little island. A floating island, you could say. And he is simply guarding his little spot there, being completely unproductive. It is a sad existence for him. He has a bridge key too, so I'm really getting the impression that the other Cadra want this guy dead and gone. Now, ouch! I honestly did not see that purple grag. Yeah, apparently that is the perfect camouflage in snow, being purple. And Clemens is gone. We hardly knew ye. I really pity the guy. I mean, how he was just standing there waiting for the wasp to come in. He was like, yeah, my name is Clemens. Just put me out of my misery. Poor guy. Well, let's take our revenge on this sneaky grag. He actually has a levitator that we need to use someplace else. We can also use it here though, so we shall. We can get into an optional area like this. Not if we put it there, but if we put it here. Yeah. So if we go this way, we will meet someone. Not one, but three. This seems to be a bunch of Vikings that are lost. Now I know they're from some game, but I just can't put my finger on it. Vikings that are lost. No clue. Anyway, we can get a health potion from their room, and also what seems to be an alternate costume for Blackthorne. I have no idea why we got this. Maybe this is actually an emulator glitch. Could be. I wouldn't know. But yeah, we now have red pants and red skin. Almost looks like Blackthorne's skin has been boiled. Maybe those were actually snow cannibals and not Vikings. And they tried to put us in their cooking pot. And we just barely escaped from death. Yeah, that's gotta be it. But about that alternate costume, that gives me an idea. What if Blackthorne was a modern game and it had DLC? Get the alternate costume pack now for only $4.99. Ever wanted Kyle to be blonde and short-haired? Make it happen. If you pre-order this DLC, you will get the super fancy horse armor for free, for all the horses that don't exist in Blackthorne. Yeah, that might be it. Oh man, once again we have a Grag guarding a ledge that we want onto. But you know, patience is a virtue, so let's go up and get behind him to kill him. Now that is a technique that we use a lot against the blue Grags, that you find much later in the game. Not in these levels that are coming up, because they are much too high tier for this. They really were a tough bunch. But in this room is where we have to use another levitator. Man, there's gotta be like 3 levitators in this level. It must be some kind of record. Ouch! Do you hear that? The Grags in this version are laughing like they've sucked up helium. I guess they would find that hilarious. Well, I guess they would. Until one of them passed out from it. Or maybe especially if someone of them passed out from it. Yeah, you know, these foolish evil Grags. Always doing nonsense. I wouldn't want to be their superior. Now in the next room there's going to be a very simple firefight against a green Grag. They have reactions slow as molasses, don't they? Well, apparently I do as well. Honestly, that was terrible. I can be glad this game is so forgiving. And here's another levitator. Now, let's switch items. As you might have noticed, Blackthorne is no longer dancing like a ballerina when I'm switching items. Yeah, I finally configured my controls to the way they're supposed to be. Now I've just proven that war orcs can in fact be killed by firebombs. That is something that you could not test out in other versions of Blackthorne, because war orcs and firebombs would never exist at the same time, kind of. As soon as firebombs came, the war orcs died out. But not in these levels. Now in the next room we have another one of those really inconspicuous secrets to find. Another one of those good old fake walls. If we take a little dash to the right from here, we can get another health potion. Now this is one of those secrets that if you don't know about it, you're just going to go to the next room and you're going to see the item up top. So you'll wonder, how do I get that? And of course you will have to backtrack to search for it. I guess that's a little bit annoying, but how else would you go about designing a secret? Those Eekers, I'm kind of surprised they can grow in this climate. I'm not sure what they are, plants, animals, maybe fungi. Very funky fungi. But I wouldn't know. I was always terrible in biology. I always thought the uvula was a disease. Now here's where we can go 2 ways. We can either go on the upper left, past this pressure plate, or we could take the ladder to go on top. Both ways actually lead to the same destination, so I recommend you take the upper left path, because otherwise you will have to defeat a war orc and take a very risky running jump. At this late point in the stage you really don't want to take unnecessary risks, because if you mess up, you've got to do it all over again. You know, despite the Easter egg that we stumbled upon and the occasional choice in route, I'm not really a big fan of this level. I think it's probably the weakest of the new levels because it just goes so much in a straight line. Thinking about that, one of the best designed levels in the original Blackthorne was probably the last in the Sands of Sorrow. That level really branched out wide and you were exploring it and you got items and you wondered, where am I supposed to use that now? Really made you think. Not so much this one. Here's where we can trade a firebomb for a wasp. Now, why would we want to do that? Well, in the next room we have a shield generator that you probably couldn't reach with a firebomb. But you don't actually need a wasp as well. Normal bomb will do. So, at this point we're pretty much at the epilogue of the level. That generator room was the last relevant one. Only a few more simple firefights and we will reach the elevator for this level. You know what would be appropriate? If it were actually ski lifts that we are using, like this is a ski resort. What could that lead to? We could possibly fight Grags on skis. Well, Grags on skis and Blackthorne fighting Grags on skis himself. That would be amazing. It would be totally boss. But I think that's a little bit too much to ask for. Still, I shouldn't be criticizing too much. We had a good bunch of shootouts this time. I'm Gish86, this was Blackthorne. And next time we will have a more inventive level than this one. Definitely. Bis bald!